Well, hello everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I guess we're going to go over the story of those that have knowledge and those that do not. Before we get in this video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And then if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Let's get into it. So although the overall car market nationally is in decline, that doesn't mean that dealerships can't hit home runs with car deals, because what you have to remember is that car markets are localized just like the housing market. And so this gives a lot of room for certain dealers to make good profits even in today's market where it seems like everything is on fire and it's just so difficult to sell a car. And so that's really what I want to talk about in today's video. I'm going to go over some real world examples of what has happened to some customers. And, I'm hoping that this is a cautionary tale of do your research and be educated so then you aren't in this type of situation that these people got themselves into. Let's dive more into it. So the first story comes from one of my friends that works as a finance manager at a dealership, and they work at a non-luxury dealership. So they always tell me, what's happening in their life as a finance manager. It's always interesting to hear the customer stories. But what's even more interesting for me to hear is what is happening with their job based on the market dynamics. Like over the last few months, what they've constantly been telling me is tons of cash deals, and there's not a lot of profit to be made because it's hard to convince people that are paying cash to buy service contracts and other sorts of warranties and everything that a finance manager might try to sell to a customer. However, what they have told me is that January has basically been a big shift because they still have quite a few cash deals, more than what they normally experience, but it's decreasing at this point. They went from a cash deal rate of 50%, now they're down to 30%. And on top of that, because there are more people financing, they're starting to sell more product again. And it's been pretty crazy. And the thing that they also told me is that they basically have a shift where customers are going from paying cash to just putting big down payments on cars. So it looks like the money is starting to dry up quite a bit. But regardless, with that product that they're selling more of, they're making some pretty big profits. So it's pretty hard to get an industry average in terms of what, finance managers are making. But what I typically see is that non-luxury stores in today's market, there are a lot of stores that have an average per car profit with the finance department of under $1,000. Now, there are still quite a few that are over $1,000, and some are even over $2,000 or $3,000. But those are definitely a lot more rare. What you're typically seeing is somewhere in that, under $1,000 to maybe just over $1,000 range for per car profit. And if you're wondering, per car profit is how much profit these dealers are making off of selling these finance products to their customers. So the warranties and service contracts, so on and so forth. Well, my friend happens to currently have a per car profit of over $4,000. So what that means is, on average, when a customer walks into that finance office with my buddy, they are going to be leaving with enough product to make the dealership over $4,000. Now, it's definitely not a just $4,000 ping every single customer. It basically will be something more like this, where maybe a few customers will go in and buy, maybe $1,000, $2,000 worth of, product that makes the dealership $1,000 to $2,000 worth of profit. And then someone will come in and, the finance manager buddy will work their magic, and then that person will leave with enough product to make the dealership maybe 10, 15, sometimes even $20,000 plus in profit just off of one car deal. With certain vehicles, they're expensive enough that it's easy to pack enough product to make that amount of profit because of the percentages based on the vehicle itself. And again, if you look at new car prices, this is more than possible with non-luxury vehicles with how expensive some of them are. But I'm getting a little bit too much into the weeds. The point that I'm trying to make with this story is that although the overall market is in decline, although used car wholesale prices are declining, there are still enough uneducated buyers out there that are just paying extremely high amounts for everything at the dealership. Because I assure you that this customer that just, whatever customers are buying all of that product that this finance manager is making a lot of money off of, are also probably overpaying for the car that they are buying. They probably haven't done research on any front of the car deal. They're probably just going into the dealership and they're like, hey, I want this vehicle. And the dealership's like, perfect. going to be $2,000 over MSRP because we have a vehicle shortage. And then the finance manager is going to get to them and they're going to be like, oh, well, great news. I got you approved on your loan because, well, we had 2 points of rate that we bumped you up on. They're not going to say that to them, obviously. And because of that, I was able to stuff all of this product in. So I kept your payment roughly the same. It's only going up by 15, 20 bucks a month. And you happen to get all of this warranty coverage included in that. Just sign here, right? That's just how it works in the business. And so all that you need to know from this story is that the more research that you do, the better off you will be, so that you aren't one of those customers that leaves the finance department with, $15,000, $20,000 worth of warranties that you may or may not ever use. Now, the next story comes from a bunch of different dealers that represent different manufacturers and has to deal with vehicle ordering. Now, I just made a video talking about how a lot of people are backing out of orders, but the situation is actually more complex than that, because there is obviously the group of people that are backing out of orders, but then there's the group of people that are still waiting for their vehicles to come in and they have no intention of backing out. And so it's creating a weird market dynamic. So let's just talk about some real world vehicles to kind of explain the situation. So with Ford, there are a lot of people that are backing out of their custom ordered F-150s and F-150 Lightnings. I'm starting to see quite a few of these pop up on dealer lots that, again, were special orders that people don't want after it comes in. And it's for a number of reasons. So first off, when the people ordered, the truck interest rates were significantly lower back then than they are today. And so they're like, yep, too expensive. I don't really want to have a truck payment that high based on current interest rates. And then the other thing is Ford is building trucks that are supposed to have certain options, and they're building them without those options because of constraints. A good example for 23 is heated steering wheels. Like, you can't get an F-150 with a heated steering wheel. Or if you get like an F-150 Platinum, you won't get massaging seats. You won't get a heated steering wheel. And so it's like, oh, you get this luxury truck and you aren't getting the luxury features that are supposed to make it a luxury truck. And so regardless, a lot of people are backing out of regular F-150s. But then if you look at, the Broncos that Ford sells and the Ford Raptors as well, you have a completely different dynamic where there are still a bunch of people pouring in and wanting to order these, and they're not able to order them, or they're just still waiting for a vehicle that they've ordered. I actually know of several people who ordered Ford Raptors when it first came out, the F-150 Raptor, and they still haven't received their truck at this point. And then we obviously all know about the people that ordered Broncos and they still haven't received those as well. And so it's pretty dang crazy with that set. And then if you want an example from another manufacturer, Ram is another great example. There are, not even just Ram, just Stellantis brands in general, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, and Chrysler. There are a lot of people backing out of orders with these brands as well. But then there are vehicles within the brand that it seems like those manufacturers can't build enough of. The Ram TRX is a great example. There are a lot of people that have 2023 Ram TRXs on order, and they're just sitting there waiting, and it seems like nothing is happening. But, Ram decides to keep, pushing out more of the 1500s that people aren't buying right now, like, regular limiteds. Like, I reviewed a base model limited at the Ram dealer the other day, and I'm like, nobody wants this. Like, if someone's going to buy a limited, they're probably going to buy a fully loaded one, or they're going to buy a different truck at this point because of how crazy truck prices have gotten. And so the point of this story and what you need to learn from this story is that because of what's happening with ordering, where people are able to basically easily get what they don't want and they can't easily get what they want, it's creating like a huge schism in the market. And so there are some vehicles brand new that are still really hard to get, that still have a lot of price premiums attached to them. And then there are other vehicles brand new that are starting to get discounted because there are too many of them and there are all these people backing out of orders with those vehicles. And so depending on what type of vehicle you're looking at, chances are you might be able to get a deal much better than what you expected, or you might not be able to get a deal because you'd think, oh, well, the whole market's on fire, so I should be able to get a better deal over here. But it's like, nope, that's where everyone else is swarming to. They're all wanting those vehicles. And so I just wish that manufacturers would kind of take a step back for a moment. And I know production's hard with vehicles. Like, it's a super complicated process, but do something to focus on producing the vehicles that people actually want instead of producing all these vehicles that people aren't buying. But at the end of the day, I won't complain personally because it's just more cars for me to review personally. So it's like, whatever, just keep building these vehicles that people won't buy, and I'll just keep posting them up on YouTube. And I guess it's a win for Ben Hardy, and it's a win for customers when it comes to pricing power, right? Being able to negotiate the prices off of vehicles. But it's an L for dealerships and for manufacturers because they aren't selling vehicles like they want want to. So that's pretty much going to sum things up for today's video, and the couple things that you can learn from today's video is, first off, make sure that you are educated in the car buying process. The more education you have, the better, so that you don't end up being one of those customers that pays $15,000 for a warranty or whatever it may be. And I understand that dealerships are businesses that have to make profit, but there's a big difference between a dealership making, $1,000 in profit off of a customer, buying a warranty, and $15,000 in profit off of a customer buying a warranty. And then when it comes to the vehicle ordering side of things, well, just continue to watch the market, because I'm telling you, there are going to be more and more of these custom ordered vehicles that are going to show up that people aren't going to take delivery of. But understand that not every single vehicle is going to be affected the same. There are some vehicles that are still so hot in today's market that if the first person backs out, there are 20 more people in line that will be more than happy to pay full retail for that vehicle. And so you just have to decide if that's the game you want to play. And if that's not the game that you want to play, maybe you should instead go and play the game of, oh, well, this dealership happens to have a bajillion of this type of vehicle. Let's see how low we can get the price down to. Anyways, that's going to sum things up. I'll see ya.